Hey everybody, welcome once again. In this video, we are going to talk about 10 most useful command, 10 top most useful commands in Linux. So how do we write commands in Linux? We open up our terminal and inside of that, obviously, we write our commands. So the first command that we're going to discuss is sudo. Okay, that is a fairly important and very famous command and very useful. So basically, if you want to make changes in the root directory, then you obviously have to be a root user. So you write here sudo command. It helps you become a root user. So when you write sudo command, it will ask you obviously the password for the root user. So when you will put the password for the root user, it means that you are a root user and now you can make significant changes in the root folder, which will obviously impact the whole system. So you write here sudo apt-get, let's say we write here update. So it would ask us for the password. So if I write here my password, it is going to update the repositories of my system. So what if I do not write sudo? So obviously I'm trying to do something with within the root directory. So what it is going to do, that it is going to give me an error, or it is going to give me a message which would tell me that your access is denied because you're trying to access the root directory and you're not allowed to do. Okay, so now our repositories have been updated. So what we are gonna do now, so let's try the same command with without sudo. Okay, so if we write here apt-get update, so you can see that it has given us an error and it says permission denied because we need the root permission to do that. So that's how essential the sudo command is. So now you write here clear. The second command that we're going to discuss is really important. If you want to see the details, the specific details of your system, all the details, that's how you see them. You write here uname -a and you can see all the details regarding your system. So if you just want to know which system you are on, you write here uname, you get the Linux. If you want to check the version, you write here uname -v, you get the version. Okay, now we are catching up the specific information from all the information from here. So now if we want to see the kernel release, that was basically the kernel version. So now if we want to see the kernel release, we write here -r. Okay, so that is the basically another important command that we could use. The third command that we could use is, in fact, there's a command that I'm using right now, which is clear. That is important as well. So the third command that we are going to use is the touch command. So basically touch command is used to create files. So right now you can see that there is no file named as, let's say, Linux boblinux.com or bob.txt, excuse me, bob.txt. There is no file, there is no such file. So we write here touch bob.txt. So what it is going to do, that it is going to create a file named as bob.txt in the same directory where we are right now. So we hit enter, and now if we ls, you can see that we have a bob.txt file right here. So that is basically a touch command, which is basically used to create a text file within the directory where you are right now. So you can give a path as well of a directory to another directory, and you can create a file in that directory as well. So the command number 4, the important command, is the cp command, which is basically used for copying something. Okay, so let's say if we have here bob.txt. So if we want to make a copy of this file, so first of all, what we can do is that we can nano it and we can write something inside bob.txt. Okay, so let's say we write here Linux users are awesome. Okay, so we write here this thing, and what we're gonna do now, that we save it, we press Control O. Okay, hit enter. Now we exit. So now if we try to open it up again, we want to check if yes, we have that content right there. So now if we want to make a copy of this file, so how do we do that? We write here cp bob.txt, and let's make a copy of it as a new name, which could be, let's say Sally bob.text. Okay, so now if we hit enter, if we ls again, you can see that we have another file named as sally.txt, which is essentially the copy of bob.txt. So now how do we actually check that the content of the sally.txt are same? So we're going to write here nano, and then we're going to write here sally.txt. We hit enter, and you can see that inside of this file, Linux users are awesome, the same content is inside of that. So that's how you do it. So basically now what we're going to do, we're going to write here the next important command. We're going to discuss it, which is essentially move. So let's say right now we are right here in this folder. These are the files that we have. So let's say that we want to move this bob.txt file inside, let's say, John directory or the John folder. So how do we do that? So what we would write here, we would write here move bob.txt, and then we'd write here the directory name, which is essentially John. Okay, so if we hit enter, and now you can see that bob.txt has been moved from here inside of John. Okay, so if we ls, you can see that we don't have any bob.txt inside of it. So let's move sally.txt as well. So we write here sally.txt, and then we write here John. Okay, so now you can see that we have sally.txt inside of it as well. If we ls, we don't have any bob.txt or sally.txt file here. So let's ls the John folder as well. So you can see that we have two files, bob.txt and sally.txt. So this is how you basically move a file. Okay, so that was the command number 5. Now let's come to the command number 6, and let's say if we want to delete this bob.txt file. How do we delete that? We use an rm command, and then we write here negative r, because we want to make it recursive, and then we write here bob. Let me write here John. We want to go into the John folder, and then we want to delete the bob.txt. So if we hit enter, you can see that bob.txt file is gone. So let's say if we want to delete the whole directory, so how do you do that? So right now we can see that we have here John, the folder, the directory named as John. So let's say if I want to remove John, so how will I do that? I will write here rm negative r. So if I try to do like this, rm John, so you would see that it would say that we cannot remove that directory because it has to be like recursive. This command essentially, it's saying that delete the folder but keep the files. Okay, so that's what it's basically saying. So it cannot happen that it would delete the folder and it could keep the files. So essentially this command is technically wrong. So what you need to do, that you need to make it recursive. Delete the files first and then delete the folder. Okay, so it is not possible that you would delete the folder and then obviously after that you delete files. So that is not possible. So we need to do it recursively. So we'd write here rm negative r, and then we'd write here the folder name, which is essentially John. If we hit enter, you can see the folder named as John is gone. Okay, so right here you can check here as well. Okay, so that was command number 6 basically. So now let's come to the next command, which is important, which is a man command. So basically when you're not finding any answer to anything, if you want to know a lot of things or all the things about one specific command, so then in that case you can say that you're going to use man pages or you're going to use this command. So you write here man. For example, if we want to know everything related to the ls command, so what we're gonna do here, we write here man ls. We hit enter, and now you can see that we have everything related to the ls, that how we can use ls and what are the shortcuts to it, how we can do anything, how we can append, how we can show nanographic characters, how we can list subdirectories recursively, or how we can time the style, how we can sort the files. Every single thing which you can do using ls command is right here. Okay. So the next command, command number 8, important command that we're going to discuss is the service command. So what if you want to know anything about a service that is running on your system? So let's say Apache 2 is the service which is running on our system. So we write here service Apache 2 status. So you can see that there is a green dot here and the service is active. So you can also restart the service by just putting here restart. You can stop the service by just putting here stop instead of status, and you can also start the service if you have stopped it by just writing down here start. Okay, so if you stop the service, the status will be inactive and the color would turn to white. Okay, now how can we actually check the IP address of any system? There is another important command. The old way to do is ifconfig. Okay, so you can see that we have IP address here. This is our net mask and this is our broadcast IP address. Okay, so similar way to do that is IP addr. So in that way you can basically you can see the same information but in a limited view, and it would be more precise. And you can see here that we have the same IP address, we have the port number, we have the broadcast IP, and we also have the lower up and the up information here as well. So that was another important command. The last command that we're going to discuss is the history command. Okay, so history basically tells us everything which we have done. So that's how you basically check the history. You can see that it has displayed all the commands that we have used in the past. So it would remove the commands if the limit has exceeded. Like, let's say I think the limit is 1400 commands. So if your commands you have typed in more than 1400 commands in your system, then it will basically start to remove the most earlier one. So from the top it is going to start to remove commands. Okay, so I hope you have got the point. You have enjoyed today's video. These were the top 10 most useful commands that you would be needing to use over and over again. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. For written articles, visit our website linuxin.com, and I will see you in the next video.